My name is Rick Cables, and my job title is Regional Forester for the Rocky Mountain region of the United States Forest Service. And that's a fancy title for a great job. And our region, the Rocky Mountain region, encompasses all or parts of 5 states: Colorado, Wyoming, South Dakota, Kansas, and Nebraska. So we've got this wonderful mix of the Great Plains, the grasslands, and the mountains, and it's a great part of the world.
So we know that the Forest Service has what's called a multiple use mandate. You have many different types of use of the public lands that are your responsibility to oversee and manage. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of recreation to the national forests?
I see recreation as one of the great bridge issues of this century, and by that I mean I think it's one of the issues that allows people, it bridges the natural resources, the mountains and the prairie to the public. And so it's the way people experience and get out and enjoy public lands and get intimate and familiar with public lands or with natural resources. So the recreation program, the Forest Service has such a huge portfolio of not only land, almost 200 million acres, but the kind of things, the activities that we allow, snowmobiling and cross-country skiing and hiking and mountain biking and downhill skiing and, water recreation and fishing and hunting, you name it. We have the whole gamut of recreation opportunities and settings on the national forests and grasslands in the United States. So I just think that recreation is the future. I really believe it's one of those areas that is going to get more and more important as time goes on.
So you have the responsibility for all of these various aspects, and we know that you're right now confronted with huge issues relative to pine beetle, to wildfire prevention. How do you see recreation fitting in with all of these competing priorities that you have to deal with on a daily basis?
Well, it's a great question. Recreation, like anything, I mean, when you go to the foundation of the Forest Service, the foundation is sustaining the health of the land in perpetuity for the people of the United States. That's what we do. Within that, though, you can sustain land health and still allow use. Now, there's a whole gradient there. You've got wilderness, congressionally designated wilderness, which is about a very primitive, remote, untrammeled by man is the language in the Wilderness Act, and so that spectrum all the way to like the Pike National Forest, which butts up against cities like Denver and Colorado Springs, and you've got a more urban kind of set of opportunities for people to enjoy. So as long as you maintain, one of our retired chiefs used to talk about the goose that lays the golden egg, and as long as the goose is healthy, the land is healthy in our case, we can accommodate use and these things. Fire, similarly, I mean, we want to put out damaging wildfires that threaten people's property and communities or watersheds, and do the negative things that an unfettered wildfire, a catastrophic type of wildfire, can do. But yet, interestingly, for land health purposes, oftentimes what we really need to do is put fire back on the landscape in certain times of year, because it's a natural process and it tends to keep the land healthy. So I just always look at everything with that sort of foundational piece: is how can we sustain the health of the land in the long run?
One of the big concerns that many people have in this country is the next generation and their lack of connection to the land for a variety of reasons. And I know that that's a priority within the agency. Can you talk a little bit personally about how you feel about this issue and this concern?
Yeah, it is. I would say that the thinking people really, and the people that recognize the trends right now, have to be a little concerned about, are we connecting future generations to the natural world in a way that they will passionately support sustaining the health of the natural world in the future and taking care of the planet? And it's a kind of a two-edged sword. The technology these days actually allows you to sit in front of your computer screen and take a virtual tour and do things that expose you to oceans, mountains, glaciers, all sorts of experiences. But there's something about actually getting out in it that is so memorable, and it creates these experiences that you never forget, that we need to actually expose particularly younger people to those opportunities. I mean, I have 3 children, and my kids ski, and so we live in Colorado, and we get to ski once in a while. And there's nothing better than having your children as a captive audience on a lift. They can't get away, and you have to have a conversation. And so we have great memories as a family skiing. I happen to enjoy hunting, bird hunting, big game hunting, and I do that with my children too. And again, there are memories you make that you will never forget. And so I think that's the thing that is enduring. And that's what we need to strive for with our young people, so that they'll have a connection to the land, and they'll care about it enough to go to bat for it when the time comes.
You know, the Forest Service, I think, for a long time has been known as the can-do agency. You give us a job and we'll go get her. We'll get it done. It seems like there's more and more interest in working with people outside of the agency, private partners, in helping you to get that job done. Could you talk to a little bit about the importance of partnerships from a Forest Service perspective?
Yeah. We simply could not do what we need to do without partnerships. And we need partnerships with all sorts of different people. We need partnerships with agencies, with private citizens, with the private sector, the for-profit private sector, with the nonprofit elements in the non-government organizations in that world. It doesn't matter, and you can't really. I never try to prioritize those interests or partners in any kind of a way that one's higher than the other, because you need them all. The ski industry is a classic. We've got a 60-plus year partnership where the ski industry provides the capital, private sector capital, to put lifts on the mountain and cut trails, and the public provides the land in the form of national forests in our case, and together we provide this wonderful opportunity for the public to get out in the winter and downhill ski. And that's just a classic case where you've got a public-private partnership that works and has worked for 60-plus years. And I think our partnership with the ski industry is stronger than ever. And you can tell that same story in other ways with the other kinds of partners we have. Outfitters, for example, that deliver recreation to a whole vast array of the public through how they work. Getting people out, experiencing the outdoors, rafting, dude ranches, you name it. So, it's absolutely essential that we have partnerships and cultivate partnerships to deliver the mission of the agency.
So over your career within the Forest Service, a lot of things have changed. And some people would say for the better, and some people would say for the worse. Are you hopeful for the future of the agency? What do you think about the future of the Forest Service?
Well, I think the future of the Forest Service is, I'm very optimistic about it. I'm optimistic as just by nature. But, I think that the value of national forests and grasslands is only going to increase. As our population grows and we fill in, and hopefully we do smart growth, and we kind of concentrate people and leave the open spaces as open as we can so people can enjoy them. I think that national forests and grasslands are part of those open spaces for Americans. And I think that, globally, obviously we're going to play a role in huge issues like climate change, the water that comes from national forests, hugely valuable commodity for the American people. And that's only going to get more valuable as time goes on. So I'm very optimistic about the future. I know there'll be challenges, but in our 105-year history, we've had challenges every single year. So I don't think that's going to diminish, but I think that I think we'll be in capable hands. And again, we get some young people coming into the organization with the idealism that they bring and the creativity, and and they'll take the reins, and life will be good, and for the Forest Service and for natural resources.